Welcome back, everybody. We're here at another Sledder Cast podcast. We're in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. We're at the World Championship Hill Climbs. We're in the backwoods.
The backwoods clubhouse. Pit side, trail side, track side. We're here.
The race is just going on right outside the window here in a penthouse. If you're watching the feed online, you'll probably see the flags flying.
Oh, for sure. Well, it's important to have a presence here. It's not just about, being at the races. It's supporting the races, the riders, and, being here with guys like Rory and making it all work.
Yeah. So obviously we've got Chet with Backwoods, and we brought on Rory Edwards with OnX Offroad. He's the general manager. We were setting up our tents the other day, and I was happy that we were neighbors there. Got to know Rory. We were at Kelly Canyon, the rimshot race last weekend. And so Rory's daughter is Isla. Cleaned house. She's been cleaning house all season.
She's been having a heck of a season. Yeah. Isla Pearl 1, 2, 3. She's just been hitting it hard and attacking. Yeah. She's a young lady, but really goes for it.
15, right?
15 years old.
15.
Yep.
So technically she could only race juniors.
Here at the World Championship.
Yep.
She races several women's pro classes all season. Then when she gets to the World Championship, she's actually just a little bit young to compete with the
You got to be 16?
16.
So next year she can...
And next year is when, it's going to be open house.
It's going to be a fun year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So we're stoked. Chet's gonna help me out here. You're gonna bring a little life to the party.
We're gonna bring a little. It's important to me because I pay attention to Sledder Cast. I keep an eye on you, but then especially Rory. Rory's always been on the team, a part of the team. Again, kind of not directly, but we bumped into each other, at Out West Sled Fest, and it was just such a natural who are you? Who are you? Friends of friends, friends of friends, and now I feel like we're family.
Absolutely.
But beside the fact that we sponsor, both of his kids, Isla and Kaiser, it's just the whole family thing is awesome. Yeah. And then the way that it intertwines with OnX is even better. And that's something that Backwoods can totally get behind. There's nothing better when you can share a couch. You guys, we don't just work together, we're friends, we're family. Yeah. So I had to jump on board, make sure, supervise.
That was pretty cool. Chet and I always say, I've met some of my best friends on a mountain somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And that's what happened when Chet and I met.
Yeah. It takes 2 or 3 ski poles to really get to know somebody.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. So, yeah.
Well, cool. So we're going to get to know a little bit more about Rory. And then, selfishly, I told Rory 2 days ago, I'm like, selfishly, I just want to know, the OnX story, how you guys came to be.
This is good for me too, because you see you guys everywhere. You're very much involved, not just the app to get me back home, which is really what I'm thankful for, but you guys are the title sponsorship for the rimshot circuit, correct?
Yep, we are. Yep, so, deeply invested in the sledding community and love it so much. It's a massive part of my personal life and my business as well.
So this will be a great opportunity. I'm very much interested in this story as well. So I'm excited for this one.
These guys put us through a whole lot of work and stress last year when they became the title sponsor. And 2 weeks before the races, everyone's got to have an OnX Offroad logo on their sled. Everyone's calling in, hey, I gotta get a reprint in. I gotta get the OnX Offroad sticker on there. Yeah, so good times. But so Rory, who are you? For those who don't know who you are, give us just a brief background of Rory and kind of your upbringing into where you're at right now with OnX.
Yeah. Thanks, Trevor. I think about myself as a small town guy. Grew up in Southwest Montana in a town of 5,000 where I got to play in the outdoors all growing up. And as I grew and moved into the working world after college, technologies was my calling. So started out in Bozeman, Montana in technology, where I was the only guy that I knew of that was coding full time and as a web developer and racing dirt bikes on the weekends.
So that's quite the spread right there. You don't meet a lot of dirt biking coding guys.
I didn't know any of them at the dirt bike races except
it's
for
hard to relate with that.
Yeah, and we're talking 99, 2000, 2001 when the web was just coming online and it was kind of fresh. So
those are the years.
Back when the world was going to end in 2000, right?
Yeah,
Y2K.
Yeah. So otherwise just a guy with a wife and 2 kids that love to play in the backcountry. every possible moment that we can, and then work hard and play hard and mix it all together, and it becomes a life. So yeah, I just grew up in technology as I worked, and then played in the backcountry. And as time went on, we got to in 2016, I had the opportunity to join OnX in the really early phase of the growth there. And it was really where my working life and my outdoor life met. So got a chance to join.
A great opportunity. It's not easy to blend the two and then actually turn it into a living. So when like that pops up, that opportunity, and it becomes an availability, it's like you almost got to pinch yourself to see like, wow, these can coexist and I can actually kick ass at it too.
Yeah. You guys know how it is. You can blend your work and your life and all of it together, and nothing feels like work anymore.
That's where the magic comes out, like for sure. Because the people you support, the way that you're intertwined with it all, that's what it could not get more, it's wholehearted.
Fun,
it's
organic,
everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I might have to take this hat off.
Yeah. So it's a good beginning.
That's Rory. General Manager of OnX Offroad.
Yep.
So when you first started with OnX, did you come in, like what was kind of your position when you jumped on board?
We came in early days. We were almost a manufacturing company, creating chips that went in hardware GPS units.
Yep.
Selling those through Cabela's in different outlets. As we were growing and looking through what the next trajectory of the business looked like, apps were just coming online in that era. Phones were getting strong enough to really support with the GPS and some of those things. And we were in the transformation phase of going from a kind of a manufacturing company into a technology focused company. So,
and back then, were you guys, because was OnX Hunt the first digital product that you guys offered?
Yeah, that's correct. So in 2009, OnX was created by the founder, Eric Siegfried. He was out. He was actually a hunting guide and then hunting on his own and really trying to figure out access and land data and where I can and can't go and how that all fits together. He ultimately created a product for himself, put that together, and started telling people about it. And that's kind of how things kicked off. So it was really about where can I go? Where can't I go? What's the access that's available to me? And how do I get outside and go a little further?
Yeah, being able to see like the actual property lines, and I'm a guy that follows. I have a guide. I have people that know where they're going. Right. I don't necessarily need a GPS sometimes, but when stuff hits the fan and you don't necessarily know, there's nothing more comforting than knowing you can pull up an app and
knowing where you are.
Yeah. And just know. And like, just for the common knowledge of like, hey, look, here is this property line. This is wilderness. This isn't wilderness, and all that. It is so reassuring. And very cool. So like, there's only a few instances that I can time in and really, talk about some of this stuff. And the hunt thing was new to me. Like, I'm not really a big hunter. I'm not. But then you pull up this app and you start understanding why that stuff is important, and it all starts really making sense. It's available there. You have all the information.
Yeah. And land ownership, like we use in hunt, and the importance of that. I mean, you mentioned it. You want to know what you want to be in the right, and it's also really nice to not to get shot at.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I've been avoiding that. For years.
Hopefully, they're a bad shot. Yeah. So that was really the beginning around that kind of that general access point. As we kind of moved along within the business, saw additional opportunities in the hunt business continued to scale. I really looked into the off-road space where there's high need for planning, high need for navigation. We're going out there, we're high risk, and we want to come home safe to our families.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. So in 2019, took a look at the opportunities out there, the markets, and really some of the passion that I had. That I could bring to the business from off-road roots and what we do every day, kind of really knowing this audience, and said, this is a pretty good place for us to go. So 2019 was kind of following along the same principles we used in hunt. Where can I go? Where can't I be? What's the access? Where can I, not get in trouble or go have a great time without.
Yeah. The trail system. I've got a lot of questions for you coming up here because like if someone's used both apps, right, it's almost like, okay, so what did you guys just like hit copy paste and then publish and then change the name? And so, but those who have dived into it know what the differences are in the two apps. So I'm curious to learn more about kind of the backbone of off-road. So as far as like your progression within OnX Offroad. So you started generally with OnX, and then you guys saw a need. Hey,
Yep.
I think this off-road division is somewhere where we'd like to go.
Yep.
You headed that up.
Headed it up.
What does the day-to-day like life look like as the general manager of the off-road division at OnX? Like, what are you spending your time during the day?
You know, each day is a bit different for sure. Some of the days are in the field, some of the days are in the office, but you know, they're all generally focused around how can we continue to improve, you know, continuous conversations with customers, constant feedback. Where's our opportunities from the information that we might be able to pull in to help users be better at what they do, as well as some of the features that we're bringing to life that really bring that information to life. So conversations inside, you know, they scale up and down from strategic to tactical on a regular basis.
Right.
But they all continue to revolve around that same center point, which is the customers. And how can we help them have a better day outside, stay safer?
So I think I've already got it figured out. This is the scene. It's me and you. We're in a Maverick RS, whatever the hell they're running now. And we're out in the backcountry and we're driving. And then I'm going to start asking some questions to myself, but you're going to be there to answer them. Whoa. And I'm telling you the feedback of where am I? What am I doing? Oh, I forgot to download this. I forgot to do that. You know, that type of feedback. It's cool to hear that you guys aren't just, you know, and I know firsthand that you guys aren't just office people. You know, you guys are out in the field. You are out actually doing this stuff. Yeah. I mean, for sure, out doing it. You know, you're a hell of a snowmobiler too. So that's cool. So I think we could schedule that. That sounds like a good business, you know, R&D trip in the Mavericks, you know, figuring out how the ins and outs of this thing work.
You got to go find more untracked trails. Get those on the maps.
There we go. Right? Yeah. And a jump feature would be good. If I could hit a button every time there's a jump, drop a flag so people know.
Nice. Kicker here, kicker there. Clip drop.
Nice. So as far as like those early days, we had a great conversation with Chet when we did a podcast with him. Those struggles in the early days that people don't see, right?
Yeah.
You guys feel them, you go through them, but the general, you know, public, they don't ever see those types of things.
Yeah.
What were some of the early struggles of transitioning out of handheld devices, the Garmin's and whatnot, right, to the OnX Offroad product?
Oh man, you know, when you're dealing with the phone hardware versus the hardware that you're getting out of a different GPS, some of the you know, I know you asked some of the struggles, but some of the great things were just you're on a new platform, you're on a screen where you can bring aerial imagery to life and satellite imagery.
You can do so much now on these things.
You can bring some of those things to life. Well, you're also in a pretty early phase of technology and building apps and bringing apps to life. And we're in the early phase of really bringing mapping to life on a phone in general. For sure.
Yeah, you get the foundation of these phones because I've got the GPSs. I've got so many GPSs. I'm using them, you know, for everything. Unrelated to actual GPSs because now my phone does it all, you know, and especially with the satellite integration and stuff like that too, it is incredible. So what a cool tool to be able to work with. But again, you got to build the app, you got to build the interaction part of it. And there's a lot that goes into that. It's not easy. I would imagine. I've made an app or two, but nothing like this.
You know, when you're kind of dealing with, you know, disruptive technology in those ways, you can't really look through the lens of what history had and what was available to you then. You actually need to look into the future, really zone in on what customer problems and opportunities and needs that they have and how you can maybe solve them differently. And I think some of your challenges in any growth or you know, company is really not looking at the past history and what was available to you then. Start looking ahead and what the technology can do 2 years from now, 3 years from now.
And that's a tough thing to do, looking into the future like that. But you have to, you really do, because you can spend so much time on something right now that could be irrelevant, you know, later down the road. But that's the exciting part.
That's cool. That's cool. And then, you know, you'd start off just like any business does, and you're like, okay, I've got a leader and I've got a person that can put information and content in the app, and I have one coder. That's the team of three. We're going to go make an app, and we're going to go make it happen, and then we're going to start from there, and we're going to learn.
Team of three.
That's team of three. Team of three. So we sat down in a conference room and drew out drawings on the page on what we wanted to zone in.
The conference room as a team of three. I can picture what I had a conference room too with a team of three.
No window conference room in Missoula, Montana, and drew out what we wanted to look at, focused in on what that first core business or need that we wanted to solve for the users, which is, where can I legally take my off-road vehicle? And we just said, okay, that's our concentration point, and focus there, because there's so many things and places and different needs, and you get so excited
that's
about
the thing.
all the possibilities that you can build.
When there, especially when your abilities, you guys are capable of doing all of this stuff, but you need to find out what is the most important thing to the people that are utilizing your product. And that's what I think, that's where we get our best feedback, is when you're going directly to the source. You're dealing with the guys that actually use it, and you're able to take that feedback in, and you can get that feedback easy. It's really up to you what you do with it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was really cool. We, in our particular case, we spent 3 months. We put the app together with the three of us. We got it out on the Android platform first, and we all jumped in the same truck, drove to Moab, Utah, and then we walked around with the app, talking with folks. Hey, will you try this app out for free? Hey, will you try this app?
So for the record, I don't know where my phone is, so maybe we need an app for that too. But I think there is one. My OnX tracker is on today. It started already, so we're gonna see what we can tally up for mileage, and information. I'll make sure to send it over. You're
gonna get some pretty good elevation gain.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
You may not be hiking up it, but you'll still get some. You'll get the elevation.
You'd probably be surprised by the end of today. It's going to be a long day. Yeah, it's early. It's only 11:33.
Yeah, we won't know your steps, but we'll know the elevation change.
Yeah. So Rory, was there a point where you guys you were looking at what you were cooking up, and you were like, we are onto something?
Yep.
Because I can remember just being a user and a customer.
Yep.
Garmin handheld. There's an app available. Okay, but I still take both of them with me.
You have to charge both of them too.
Charge both of them. And then the moment where I felt confident enough where I could just leave the handheld and just run with my phone was like so freeing. It was amazing. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember back, like what was like the feature ad or that where I was like, yeah, I can go full app now.
Yeah.
I think it was for sure like the buddy tracking, and then the being able to download the maps.
The tracking and downloading maps.
Yeah. Once that was there, it was like, I don't need service now.
Right.
I can download, I can pin and mark stuff on my computer.
Yeah.
Download, sync, and have it on my downloaded map when I'm out in the field without service. Because that was like my biggest thing was like, okay, we're in places where there's not service a lot of times, and I've got to have that function. So
yeah, personally, I was in Island Park, Idaho.
It's a great place.
Great proving grounds for sure.
Good place. I had my wife and 2 kids with me. They were quite young, and I had realized that we were way deep in. We hadn't taken a trail. We'd just been boondocking all day long, cruising around. I realized
this is snow.
This is all snow on snowmobiles, just riding the backcountry. Kids probably 10 and 12, so pushing farther than many do. And I realized that I didn't know which direction the truck was, and I had just
been there before.
I had just taken my family, and we just rode and had a great time and ate lunch, and I was actually spun around thinking the truck was the other way, and I realized that I was putting so much trust into the app that was in my hand or in my pocket or on my bars there that I was willing to risk my entire family's life out there. So that's where it was
the moment.
That's such a good example too, because literally, everything you've ever worked for, you've got your wife, your kids. Like, I'd get teary-eyed if I dug into this any hot, and like, you're at a point where we've had fun. You've been able to relax and just go and be, and then all of a sudden you're right. Where is the truck? Yeah. Like, we do need to get back home. Like, we have plans and to have something to just be fully reliant on, and be able to trust and whatnot. What it's like. You're making sure that you can rely on that. You're making sure that everybody else can rely on it too.
Yeah.
That's a good one for sure.
Yeah. Ton of trust at that point. And I realized I was actually starting to work differently and operate differently than I ever had before with the use of the technology, where I was just throwing caution to the wind from, when you're growing up, you're out with your folks or whoever your leader or guide is that kind of teaches you about the outdoors. And mine was my father, and he was always every day, 5 times a day, which direction's the truck, which direction's the truck.
Yeah. Always be able to point.
I had thrown all that out the window, and I was just blowing into the backcountry with my kids and just winging it and leaving it all to OnX. And I was like, well, this is we're here. And from a personal perspective, from a business perspective, it was March of 2020. We went to the Mint 400. did a booth, met a whole bunch of partners in at that point. And at that point you could really feel the business start to scale, start to catch some wind. The conversations we were having were making sense, and the audience was really starting to really react positively to the entrance into the off-road space.
Right. Well, when you know too, as a customer, like when you know that you can actually legitimately connect with the guys who are making it happen, that's the best part. Like that's when it really starts to take off, you know?
Yeah.
I've never ridden with anybody else GPS related. I've never, none of this stuff. And that's the biggest thing for me is you got to be out here. You got to show face. You got to be with the people that, are using your product and really putting it to the test. So that's what I love about the whole thing for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when you, what I got from the two stories that you shared was the moment you realized that the product was legit. It's like, this thing's going to sell itself. Now we just got to show up and the product is going to sell itself.
Yep.
And that's a really cool,
it's a good place to be
in.
Yeah. It's a very good place to be.
You know, right? Like when the product can sell itself, you're in a really good place.
There's nothing better than that.
Marketing's easy.
When the next hard thing is just showcasing and showing it to the people, which that is a complicated thing. We joke about how easy it is, but it is. It's tough sometimes to say, no, really, guys, we're on to something. We have something good that it takes care of us and it could take care of you too.
No, it's interesting. You kind of look at the different markets. You look at the sledding space and what we have available, from wraps to bumpers and a tire and different things. And some of those things, you really see them and they're bright and they're loud. And I'm like, when I'm running my backwoods bumpers, I make sure they really pop out. I love those things. Right. And when you're selling an app, it's a bit different. Like you can't see it necessarily on someone's body or on their sled or things like that. So it's a little bit different. Like you need it to really, really fly for you and really solve those needs. So that you're talking about it over drinks after a great day out sledding or whatever it might be.
Yeah. Well, and that's, to be honest, this product is the difference between a great day and not, in most cases. And I think that's where we, not that I'm trying to plug backwoodsbmp.com. But that's
cut that one out.
That's
we've given you two. We'll give you two. Okay?
That's the reality of it, though. Get to 10, we always focused on getting back from your ride. Not all of us are good enough. You hit a tree, you get back to the place, and sure, you might have reliable gear, but you got to know where to go.
Right. Yeah. Gosh, I can think of a number of times.
I thought that was another camera. It's a train horn. Just as a reminder, guys, this is Jackson Hole. We got live streaming over here right now. We got at least 25 people over here.
Just flip that camera around.
Yeah, flip it. Give a quick show, because I'll give these guys credit for holding it together. Shut the horn off.
That's good.
Awesome. Just as a reminder.
Hey guys and gals, if you love the show and want to support us, head on over to deviantinc.com. Use the code SledderCast, save some money on your next premium custom wrap. If you've spent any time on deviantinc.com, you already know it is the best, easiest custom wrap builder tool out there. With its new interactive design tools, makes designing and customizing wraps super slick. We're big fans of the new color mixer tool. It randomizes colors until you land on the perfect combo. A design mixer tool is a game changer when you already know what colors you want and you want to see all of our designs in just your pre-selected colors. So head on over to deviantinc.com, use the code SledderCast, save some money on your next wrap purchase. Let's get back to the show. So I didn't check with you first about the technology stack that you guys use, because there may be some stuff that you can't share, but I'm gonna I'll ask you the questions, and if you can, that'd be awesome. If not, because I'm like,
you didn't sign the NDA.
You made me sign. I didn't get an NDA.
2 years
ago.
We're good. Oh well, let it fly. Here we go.
Let it fly. Yeah. What's something about the technology stack of that OnX uses?
Yep.
That most of us don't know, and it would probably blow our minds. Like that, you guys are able, that you're pulling this in and putting it together, and pop, there's an app.
Yeah. probably don't want to go too deep into it. I would say it's, OnX has been around for a while. We've entered the app space pretty early, and we, to be a pioneer in some of this mapping space and to do that, we've really had to create our own paths and our own technology to be able to bring it together. And really our focus is, a great stack from an engineering and code perspective, and we put it on the platform. But some of the, the ways that we've been able to figure out how to bring, it's really about the information that you need to be better at what you do. And we kind of look at, like, how can you go into a new area and get 10 years of information? Like, you lived in that place for 10 years. If you can get that in 10 minutes, we've solved what we're after. And so a lot of our focus has been, really around that platform and how easily and how can we feed that into the app? But really it's about that simplicity and making it easy. Right. And so something that, we might not know, it's a little off from the stack, but there's actually a couple hundred people behind the scenes of OnX actually coding and bringing content into the app, just from an employee perspective, like going from one from 1 to 3 to like bringing it up. And so it's if you're looking at something like a phone and an app on a phone, like and it's easy to use and it makes sense, means there is a lot of work that's done behind the scenes. A lot of work that's done behind the scenes.
So don't take it for granted.
Like an example is Google, right?
Right.
Like how often, like Google has made it so. When have you ever like jumped on a support call to figure out how to use Google?
Those are the worst. I don't do support calls.
but we don't need to.
We don't need to because
exactly, and that's a beautiful thing that does take time and energy.
That is what thousands of engineers will do. It just works.
Yeah. Trail data. Can you talk about that? Like,
yeah, you bet.
Like, is it user generated? Are you guys pinging into other APIs? Like,
that's a great question. Over 500 different sources of data and trail information that we're bringing into the app, and a lot of that is kind of your base trail data set. Then you've got an authoritative entity of some sort that's usually providing, okay, what's legal on this trail, what's not legal on this trail, or this area, if we're talking wilderness or areas where it's game management during a certain part of sledding season.
And that's a lot of great information, because I'll tell you what, you're saying a lot of things that just don't come into my mind. So when you're able to quickly and easy understand some of that, like that's good. This is great knowledge to have.
It's pretty handy. So we bring a lot of data sources in, pile through them and then bring them to life through the app there. And then we also run what we call our trail guide program. So we actually have a few thousand folks that are out, ground truthing the trails that are out there, ensuring that we know exactly where the trails are, what the access is, how difficult they might be.
How are they doing that? Are they tracking themselves? They're moving through?
They're running a trail. They're using the app. They're taking pictures along the way and then writing descriptions and taking pictures of, the hard part of the river crossing or the...
Is that an open program you guys have? Like, if anyone's listening here, is that something that
how do I get on board? Because I'd like to do one of those for the Jackson Hole Hill Climb today, actually. If pictures are involved,
that is an open program. And so it's right on our website in the off-road area. You can come out, you sign up, and you start running trails. You have to be Tread Lightly certified. Okay. And then
Tread Lightly.
Yep. And then away you go and start tracking your trails, right, and doing your write-ups. You get a free membership, a free elite membership to the product.
Cool.
And then as you grow and you bring more trails in, then you continue to earn gear and all sorts of cool stuff.
So that's great to know that, it sounds like I could not do that program unless I put some work in, but that's what you want. You want reliable people that are giving back, the proper feedback and contributing in the right ways.
And it's really cool. People just love to join the program and they love to give back, and maybe they're really good at their area in, I don't know, Arizona, right?
Exactly.
And so they're gifting the information to someone that wants to go to Arizona, but someone else is in Idaho.
Like you said, 10 years of information just compiled into maybe 10 minutes, maybe 10 seconds. You got to earn that stuff. Those maps that they used to hand draw, that wasn't easy, So that's great to think about that you're taking people that are specialists within their regions, where there's no better place to get that information from. You're not going to catch me, giving someone a tour through Colorado or Utah or anywhere. I'm clueless. So to get the right people in charge and to be contributing towards that's awesome. That's really cool.
Local experts in an area, and you love to share because you love to go see a new area and have an adventure and have some knowledge.
Because the world is huge,
so many places.
And to just say like, well, follow me, I've got this one. It's like, there's no way. It's like Tom, and then Peter, Joanne, they're the best ones in the area. Let them be the ones that help give us the information we need. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's a lot like, having a guide, your guide along your side, right? Like actually,
right there in your pocket.
Digital, but it's in your pocket.
Yeah.
But
right.
$1,000 for a backcountry guide that day.
Right.
Yeah. So any plans with AI? Is that I'm sure you guys have had like conversations around how can AI be integrated? How can we take advantage of it?
Yeah.
Is there any conversations like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, every company should be having their AI conversations.
You talk about the future, very much.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a bumper company talking about AI.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Every company should be talking about AI and how you can leverage it. And it's really about productivity, right? Like your productivity in your human resources department, or in your technology stack, or your content delivery, or there's so many ways to really improve and gain efficiencies out of what AI can bring us now. Even so many simple things, and it just helps us all. It's not about replacing people. It's about taking care. It's about enabling and taking tasks and efficiencies
100%
all the way across the board. And so, absolutely, not only AI within our stack and our data and how that all comes together in the way in the speed of processing, but across every single area of the company.
I think people misinterpret that too, and to take the realities of AI and not just shy away from it. Like, yes, it's scary, it is, but it's a resource. And again, it's not about cutting back, well, perfect, we'll just AI this, we'll AI that. It's about enabling and giving people the right tools. And I think the sooner that you can realize that you're willing to do whatever it takes for the company to be better as a product, as a company, for the people, that's what it's really all about. So when you really, see, visualize, understand, what is in the future, and you say, hey, look, we're going to do whatever it takes. This might be a little weird, a little scary, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to use it to, be a positive thing for the company. And that's what's going to make our product better than anybody else.
Yeah.
You get ahead of it now, start working on it, which you guys always are ahead of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, cause the reality is like, I look at it like this. My grandma and grandpa, love them. You put a phone, they have no idea how that phone, like how it can do the things it does.
Careful.
The internet,
safety on.
They have no idea how. And so I look at that and say, if you're not trying to figure out AI, like you're going to be sitting there trying to understand how the crap are people doing.
You're going to be nana soon,
I know.
The tables will turn.
It's not going to be when we're old. It's going to be like next.
Well, you're in the past next week.
Yeah. Right.
Like it's next week.
We're living in the future here, gentlemen. Come on.
Yeah. So, anyways, no, that's good. Good to hear. I mean, I was assuming that AI is heavily baked into the process, and as far as a feature, so this is one of my favorite questions I heard. A feature that most people don't use on OnX Offroad, but they absolutely should be using it.
Okay. All right.
What do we got?
I got a couple. If you're not using slope angle to understand your terrain when you're in the backcountry, so you can just easily look at slopes and tell if they're 25, 35, 45 degrees. If you're not using that, you got to use it.
An incredible feature.
Powerful.
It's coming from the East Coast. Like I'm out here, like I've taken the most basic avalanche training, thankfully I'm surrounded by guys. I've been there, but when you're out in the elements, I mean, this is when you're relying on features like this, because just to get a feel for it, like I can't roll up to a slope and say, yep, 27, 35, 42,
no idea.
But utilizing this app, if every time you get to a slope, you check it, you look at it, you can start slowly creating trends within your own mind to then finally be able to shoot that, and then make a game with yourself. Like what degree is this? 27. Check the app, boom, it's 28. You're getting close.
We're dialed.
Like that's really cool. An incredible feature that I personally really enjoy, because it is intimidating getting into some of these zones, and you check the avalanche, and I always treat it like it's high, and you get into these spots, stuff can happen quick. The time to figure it out and deal with it, it's
and it's easy to think about, like you're looking up at a slope and going, okay, what's that look like? But so many times in snowmobiling, you're working through you're out backcountry sledding, you're working through the trees, you're like,
there's a lot of things to worry about.
You drop into the next hole and you just you're out there navigating yourself, and you're doing it by sight. But when you're dropping into something and you go, okay, that's a red zone if I drop right there. If I go 100 yards to the
It's
north,
not red.
Right.
it's
Check
green.
this out.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
the safety factor can just shoot up.
Let's
Yes.
take a quick break. Let's pull up the app. Let's look at the map. And oh, no kidding. We don't have to drop right here, you lunatics. We can go a little bit to the right and we're good to go. And everybody's like, I like you. Yeah. All right. Let's follow this guy.
Yeah.
Brought to you by OnX. Confidence.
So here's now smart goggles. Okay, I've had a conversation with some people around smart goggles, right? Because you've got smart glasses now, right?
They better not fog up.
So listen here, okay? Because this may be something that you guys are cooking up, all right? But how cool would it be to have the technology in your goggles to where it is showing you slope angles in your goggles as you're looking at the slope and knowing through GPS. So it's taking in what you're looking at, but also where you're at on the terrain. And so your goggles are showing you red, orange, yellow, green, right? As you're scanning a horizon.
He's a few years into the future now.
I'm so excited for goggles.
No kidding. So Rory's like, who told him the inside scoop? That's what I love. I love that.
Do we need to cut this out?
Yeah, right.
That,
No, I mean, it's
There's a button for that.
Things are coming to eyewear. They're coming to glass. They're coming to our watch. They're coming to the screens in our vehicles, and they're coming to our our side by side snowmobiles. I mean, screens are going to be a major part of our life and showing up in glass that we look through. And like you said, there's going to be some time, but we can see it. And I was having a conversation with my daughter a couple of days ago, and she's out here going to, hit the world championship and make a run. I was like, what lens are you going to use? And I just said, I can't wait until you don't have to think about what color lens you're going to use and what color sunlight, because they're digital lenses and they just change and they pick up the contrast. And you can bring stuff to life so well. We were just talking about that. But of course at work, we talk about, the opportunities and what we can bring to life, and
OnX
might
goggles.
show. It'll be some time, but
the people you'll see crossing, it's not moose crossing around here. It's Muskoka crossing. You got to watch out. He comes in fast.
He didn't recognize where the camera was and went around it.
Right. Knows his way around.
He's been there before.
It's almost like he had the OnX app. He knew where to go.
Yeah. Well, that's I'm excited to see what kind of technology we're able to see come from that. So
it's going to be a cool.
That is the exciting part. It's cool to know. A lot of people are like, "Nah, this is what we got. This is what we're rolling with." But to be the ones who are diving into the future and knowing that like we're cooking something up, and like it's crazy how an idea starts off as just a tiny thing, but then you get the right people involved and you start to just put a little water here, a little water there, and the next thing you know it's in your hands, it's in your helmet, it's there. That is my favorite part about this whole thing, how much control we have with some of these aspects, and being the guys who are the driving force within it. I think that the industry's safe. It's in our hands, and in most aspects.
It's an exciting space. There's so many, different inputs and outputs to pay attention to from a user perspective, right? Right. It's like we have our voices, we have our ears, we have our eyes, we have these different, senses that we can use to clue in on what's going on out there and communicate with the screen. Or does it even need to be a screen anymore? Right. Like, where would you want the input? Maybe it's actually coming through your ear, slope angle 35. I don't know.
Right.
This is fun to think about.
That's what I need. Can I get it in my wife's voice? Don't go there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's dive into specifically snowmobile use of OnX Offroad.
Yep.
Okay, so for the snowmobilers.
Yep.
What's the biggest benefit that sledders can gain from the OnX Offroad product? I know we talked about the slope angle.
There's a few of them. Slope angle's really cool. Avalanches are real. They're real killers. Paying attention to the terrain, knowing what you're doing, getting some training yourself in it. But the avalanche report for the entire North America is in the report, updated by 7:00 in the morning every day. It's easy to read, it's easy to scan, and it's worth doing.
Just like drinking your coffee,
right? Have a cup of coffee, scan that AVI report. It's right there and available to any zone that you're going to go into. So I'd say, from a benefit perspective, starting your day out that way is always a smart way to ride and smart way to stay safe and come home to your loved ones.
Creating habits too, that's what this app should be a part of your habit. Right. I'll give you guys a lot of credit to be on. I got a new phone, right? I was out on the slope. I downloaded the app, signed in, and was ready to roll. And literally before the guys could start their sleds and go. I mean, it was probably 4 or 5 minutes, but I do believe that this is something that should be integrated within the daily. You know, if you're out riding, you're out with the boy, like take care of yourself, take care of your team. You know, there's nothing better than being informed. And the fact that there is an opportunity and availability to do that, you know, why not?
Yeah, no, it's good. Yeah, you know, help other options, opportunities for for help out there is certainly have your save maps when you head out into the backcountry. That slope angle that we talked about previously is super handy. Always turning that on and off and keeping a good lay of the terrain, and of course just tracking where you're going and marking a few things. I like to evaluate a new area that I'm going to go into, maybe look at where I want to make the passes, make the changes into the next level of terrain, and put some waypoints on those things. And so I've pre-mapped where like I think the best, safest lines are to get into one zone and out of another.
Something that I've kind of been keeping in mind and is you have all these incredible features, but while you're on your snowmobile and you're riding, it's tough, right? So something that popped into my mind quite literally yesterday is just creating an availability to be able to use these features quickly, easily. So like perhaps maybe a little collaboration between the Backwoods crew and OnX. Maybe we can provide some hardware that is able to facilitate a phone or something that can communicate a phone, and then all the coding and stuff that I don't understand. You guys take care of that. But it's cool to be able to know that every time I push this button, whether it's on your phone or maybe something else that we create, hey, this means this means that. Go here, don't go here, quick and easy. Boom, boom, boom. While you're out there, keep riding, hit the button, keep going.
Keeping, it's great to have the best technology, in the world or whatever, but if it's hidden or away and you can't get to it and it's not in the right spot, it's not useful, and you don't use it. And so, so I've been actually doing a lot of testing this winter with it mounted with my phone or other devices mounted up, right by my bars.
Oh, this is great.
So
I think we got something cooking today.
All right, guys and gals, Trail is one of our newest program supporters here at the Sledder Cast podcast. You can find them at trail.com. They are coming in hot with all of the goodies, all the backcountry essentials. A few of our favorite must-haves are the Grizzly folding saw with razor sharp teeth that plow through those pesky branches with ease. Also the lightweight ski pole strap, a real back saver when your buddy needs that 7th pull of the day. And of course, the Trail Hot Pot exhaust cooker, because hot meals are way better than cold meals in the backcountry. So head on over to trail.com, that's TREYL.com, grab your exclusive Sleddercast promo code in the description below. Let's get back to the show. Okay, that's cool. As a snowmobiler, let's say we're gonna go plan a snowmobiling trip. Okay, to a zone that maybe we're not familiar with as much. What are 3 things that you would suggest that my group does to plan that trip and totally utilize the OnX Offroad app to make that trip into quote unquote the unknown the best experience possible for us?
Take a look at the zone that you're going to go into before you do. Download some maps, but the 3D technology and capability of seeing that terrain.
So on a PC, like
on a PC,
get on a PC
or your phone. You can do your phone too. Either way is like look at that terrain you're going to go into. Get it, flip it so it's in 3D mode and get a really good idea of the terrain and the travel paths that you're going to go into.
So 3D mode is number 1.
3D's key. Save those maps.
Save your maps
that you're gonna for the area that you're gonna go into. Just make sure if you're transitioning in and out of cell service or whatever that the information that you want is there.
Because arguably there's nothing more important than where you're about to go and what you're about to do. So you got your photos, you got everything else, but let's be real. When something hits the fan, you need to have these maps and just the ability. All you can do is hit that button, download that area, zoom out a little, get a little bit more, just in case you never know where you're going to end up.
And the phones do a great job. The technology that we have now do a great job of caching all those things that you've looked at and whatnot. It almost feels like it just always works, but it's worth just making sure, just don't forget your beeper. Don't forget to save your maps, right? Like put your airbag on.
Put in the schedule.
Other couple things is marking some of those zones that you want to go to, and maybe travel corridors that you want to hit when you've got your slope angle on prior on or off, and just being able to see those transition places. I love to do that, mark a few waypoints, and then the last thing is start that track before you leave the truck. Start the track when you leave the truck.
Started mine this morning.
Yep. You can share all those things out super easily now from any markup or route that you've created or anything. It's easy. Tap it, throw it in a folder, share it to the entire group, and then everybody knows what the plan is and where the transition zones are and things like that. So
now I should know the answer to this. So forgive me. Live tracking on downloaded maps.
Okay.
What's the capabilities of that?
So we're live tracking. You get live tracking your own track just for you.
Just for you
at this point. Yeah.
At this point. As far as syncing up with Chet on the mountain, not yet.
That's a crazy place to be with me on the mountain.
Not today.
Not today.
Not today. No. Not today. We've got some cool things coming for 2026, but
again,
today.
The idea that you guys are the ones, like after this podcast ends, I could pressure you pretty hard, and then we could talk about, and you're going to be like, you know what? There's a lot of guys that keep talking to us about doing this, you know, and like, I don't know how to do it right now, but I bet if we put our brains together, we can figure it out. And that's probably the coolest part is the potential influence, that is available, because who are you? Look what this room is made of.
Yeah.
Some of the biggest snowmobilers in the industry, we're going to have a short conversation about what we're going to do, and it's just cool that sometimes we can't do things, but to just know that that's what the people are calling for, firsthand, in face. I mean, that's what it's all about.
And the other part of that too is you're working with your customers. You know what they want. You're working on it. There's always a prior key. There's a limit to how many engineers and code and data that you can bring in. But the real reality is some of these problems take 2 or 3 years to solve.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And we know all about that.
Right. And so as much as we'd love to snap our fingers and go, yes, I can see my
especially
friend.
bug free, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's like, do we launch?
What version?
Do we just V1 launch it, deal with the bugs, and then fix them as we go, or do we, But
what version are you guys on? 1.2, 1.3,
0.0009.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. Well, as we kind of get into the future here, we've talked a lot about some of the cool stuff that you guys got cooking up, but if you could snap, boom, 5 years in the future, here we are.
Yeah.
And you could paint that picture of what OnX Offroad is doing. What's some of like the bigger things that you hope that we're looking at, 5 years in the future?
Right. Okay. Yeah. 5 years from now, I think we've mentioned a couple of them already, which is, the different screens and glass and inputs and outputs that are going to be available to us, right? Like, what does the future look like, and where do we need to be available, expected to be available, and then really creating simple experiences in those locations so they really help. So we do certainly are always looking ahead and evaluating. And then, it's always, the landscape's always changing and moving to a certain extent. We don't, AI is really taking off right now, right? Like, we don't know how much that's going to change our attitudes and our outlook. So we'll certainly be looking 5 years out. But at the core of that, it's always the same, right? Like, you're always just continuously working with your customers. You're trying to look past the particular problem or need that we have, and look into what we're going to have that's available to us then, and start working towards that.
Yeah. And 5 years is kind of a little too far out there.
I'd say it's pretty crazy. You look from 5 years ago and then look at where you're at right now. I mean, that's a long time. It's hard to see and try to.
We don't even know the problems that you don't even know the problems yet that you're going to be solving in 2 to 3 years from now. Right?
I mean, the backwoods OnX integration, I'm so excited for.
Chet,
really
Chet is in his zone right now. He already has that, like, what is it? Your dynamic scanner builder tool out there.
Yeah, that's patented technology.
You already got it going in your head. I can already tell.
That's good, and that's probably my favorite part. Is we surround ourselves with the right people that help us make the best products, and I think you do the same thing for sure.
Absolutely.
There's a reason why your guys' flags are everywhere out here. There's a reason why they're on everybody's snowmobiles. And, we talked about earlier how they have to, but let me tell you what, these decals will be on there no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not just a brand and just a product, but it's a person, and that's easily the best part. I get a lot of respect for guys that give me ski poles, There's not a lot of opportunity for that. And this little boy right here is giving me a couple. So
that's some fun.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
So as we round this out, Chet's already been down this road, so we'll give Chet a pass here. But we end every episode with 2 questions. The same 2 questions.
Okay.
The first one is if you have a brand new snowmobile, what are the 3 things you're going to do to that snowmobile? So the 3 mods you're going to do. Wraps don't count.
Yeah.
So that's question number 1.
Okay.
And then the last question there is, what is something that none of us here know about you? Like that kind of interesting factoid that is out there, and that we're going to let it all out here on the Sledder Cast podcast. Let's go back to number 1. What are 3 mods?
What are my mods?
Yeah. What are your 3 favorite you're going to do?
Always lighten up. So can drop in that weight right away. Second one. Let's see. I always do front and rear backwards bumpers.
Ooh, hey, every
year.
Well, that's wow.
That's every set we own, which is a lot of them. They always get backwards bumpers. My kids are good at hitting trees, so we save a lot of front ends.
Yep.
And the third, I haven't got an opportunity to do this, but I'd swap out the skid. I'd go with the Thomas skid.
Okay.
Those are the 3.
Have you met Justin and the crew?
Yeah.
You met? Okay.
Yeah.
Good
I've rode sleds with their skids under them. I like them.
Okay.
I'm trying to get in on that.
My own.
Maybe we can. Well, I'll follow my track. We'll lead right over to the Thomas Racing team, and we'll see what we can figure out.
Yeah. But those are the 3 that I do.
Awesome.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not allowed to mention it, but I do wrap my sled every year too.
Yeah.
Because this is protection and looks.
For sure.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
Let's see.
But here's the nitty gritty. Here's why we're here. Well, what's something that no one knows about Rory?
This is why I stuck around.
Yeah. Gosh, what do we not know about Rory? I don't see it. I'm not a huge social guy publicly out there or whatever, but I spend a lot of my my home time. I'm on the dedicate my time to emergency response and some of the search and rescue aspects in our local community. Being involved there, I love to grab the resources that I have available. And really, people have their worst day out there. They're having a rough time. Something goes wrong, broken leg, just purely lost, whatever it is. I love to get involved and help someone have a better day, bringing them home safe.
That is what brings it full circle. I mean, how could you not be more comforted knowing that the app that you are using is designed by a guy that at full circle, is bringing his family out, on a daily occasion, snowmobiling, relying on getting back somewhere. And then, you're out in the field, you're helping out, you're assisting, right? Yeah. And like, there's no way you're not pulling out the app. You're not checking this stuff. This is everything that gives you the confidence to do what you do, and that's really what it's all about, to do it safely, to follow through and be a contributing factor to whatever crazy instance, we may or may not get into. Being ready for it's everything. And that's what is so cool. It's not just the office guys behind the books, doing this and doing that. It's the guys out in the field making it happen. And I love that. I absolutely love that about OnX.
Heck yeah. No, that's a skill set that I think really, it's something that if you think about it, when we go to school, like our kids, like, sure, they may be able to dissect a frog, but they should probably know these skills, like the skill set more, right?
100%.
Right? Like, if you really think about it, like if every kid walked out of school with that knowledge and resources just in their
confidence,
like how much more valuable they.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay. Well.
Cool.
That's gonna wrap it up. I told the boys it'd be 45 minutes. I think.
Oh yeah, 45. I know how that goes.
Really, in
45
my head,
in
my head, I'm like, I think we're gonna be an hour and 10. So we're at least 15.
We're pretty good. We're less than an hour.
There's only
we're styling.
We're less than an hour. So,
but an hour Jackson time. That's like a day.
That's a day. It's a day's time. Okay,
a lot going on. So, no, I couldn't be. Thank you guys
Chet.
for having me on board. This is something that me personally, I'm very much behind. Rory and OnX as a brand, backwoods for sure, 100%. And that's what it's all about. It's being out here, being on scene, making it happen. Love your kids. I will say that you have the 2 best kids I've ever met, and I can only I can only hope that my kid, grows up and acts like your Isla. She's got the strongest handshake of most of those racers out there, and she keeps eye contact that I can't even keep up with. So I really appreciate it. I'm glad I was able to jump in on this. I love your brand, I love the company, but most importantly, I love you and your family.
Right, Chet.
So
Back at you, buddy. From the day we met on a mountainside, we've been in love since.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. We're going to go back out and take in
Jackson,
the World
baby.
Championship hill climbs. All right. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.